Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Yo, hope you guys got a great week so far, man. I'm so sorry I had to reschedule the live. This live that we're doing right now, I had to reschedule it from yesterday because, oh my God, I was so tired. You have no idea. Even today, I worked from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Then I had to shoot home and hopefully make this live. I had to reschedule the live because I was still working. I was like, oh my God, I got a live scheduled and I haven't even left work yet. What am I doing? I got to reschedule this live. So guys, I appreciate you guys immensely for being patient on me on this show. There's a lot for us to discuss. We're not going to be here for too long because once again, I got to go back to work in the morning again tomorrow. And I probably will have to do some overtime because these cases are just pouring in. It's the summertime. It is the hardest time to be a special victims investigator. Summertime. It's hot. People are dressing with less clothing. All of the evil people are out there on these streets. It is what it is. So I'm busy, but I will always, always, always make time for you beautiful people. Yeah, because you guys are important to me, man. So I appreciate you immensely for joining me today, guys. But I do have an interesting show for you guys. And look out for a show I'm going to drop tomorrow. I'm going to record it tonight when we get off of here. That's also a reason why I got to get off a little bit earlier than I usually do. I want to talk about the verdict that came in on Stephen Stearns' phone. Yeah, now most of you guys probably already heard about that verdict, but you didn't hear from me. You didn't hear my take on it. So definitely I'll make sure I have that video out for you guys either tonight or tomorrow. Stay tuned for it. All right, some housekeeping stuff before we get started, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to Aura Moon 7, who is subscribing to the coffee. That's right. You can give coffee to the mods, and you can also subscribe apparently to give coffee to the mods. I don't even know that. That's like Aki's thing. She's doing that. So Aura Moon 7 has subscribed to it, and we definitely appreciate you. Thanks for supporting our mods and the research crew. We can't do this show without the research crew and the mods. So thank you so much, Aura Moon 7. Big shout out to you. All right, great. Let's give a cheer for that one too. All right. That's the last chair we're going to do. We're overdoing the chairs today. All right, so guys, another thing, big shout out to Creepy Content with a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, Creepy Content. We're going to drop a poll right now because the poll is going to basically be, what are we talking about today? The poll is, did I drop it? Yes. Which confession of Stephen Stearns is more damning? The phone call or the poem? That's what inspired me to actually do this show. People were coming in the comment section for the last show that I did on Stephen Stearns, and they were saying, I think that the poem is the confession. And I'm adamant that the poem is not the confession. The poem is important. The poem is good. The poem is probative, but the poem is not the there.
Oh, hell no.
No, it's important though. I'm not trying to diminish its value, but it's not the there. If you listen to the phone calls that Stephen Stearns had with his parents, I assure you, you will agree with me that the phone calls are the confession that will put the nail in the coffin for Stephen Stearns. And that's why we discussed this in the other video that we did, the last video that I posted. That's why he's most likely going to end up getting a deal just like Brian Kohlberger, ladies and gentlemen, because there's nothing for us to adjudicate. If he goes to trial, he's simply just putting himself out there so he could just get out of a cell, get driven to a courthouse, maybe see his family inside of the stands, get some media attention, because guys like Stephen Stearns, their psychology, they love attention. They love being the center of attention, ladies and gentlemen. So he's just basically coming to trial just to get some attention, because he already confessed to the crime. So we're going to jump right into this, guys. Let me go ahead and pull up Grizzly True Crime. I'm going to be using Grizzly True Crime, one of our favorite channels out there. You guys know that. We show a lot of love to Grizzly and Plunder. So we're going to use her audio. You can go over if you want to hear this without my commentary, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, if you're here because you want to hear my commentary. I lied to you. One more yay. Come on. Yes, you're here because you want to hear my commentary. So we're going to use Grizzly True Crime, and I want you guys to hear it. Not listen to the whole thing, right? Just a snippet. I want you guys to hear this snippet where the father starts off by saying, I don't know if where or when you guys decided to make up this story. It's basically what Chris Stearns is going to say. Like the story that you and Jen, because Chris and Debbie, they believe that Jen is probably the mastermind of this whole tragedy, right? And he's going to say, I don't know what made you guys cook up this cockamamie story that you guys are just trying to float to the police. Nobody was going to believe that thing. You should have come to me and talked to me first, at least bring me in on this so that I could have helped you navigate this thing. And that's when Stephen is going to start, to me, one of his most pivotal, come on, strategic. You know you're tired. Don't make me go get that Red Bull. Because the fatigue is catching up to me that I'm going to say pivotal. Okay? When he gives his most important confession, it's going to be right now. So, you know, I am feeling a little fatigue. We're going to play this. I'm going to run and grab me an energy drink and be right back while we play this. But I want you to listen to this. Listen to it. 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Sure, what would be any, I'm sure there would be some things different if you had chosen that path, because there's obviously nothing we could have done without. Well, there's nothing we could have done. I mean, there was only one choice, but you know, we could have talked our way through this. I mean, the phone call that you made to me earlier in the afternoon, if you had at least shared that, you know, we could have talked our way through that and figured out a much better solution than whatever whatever you guys came up with, because none of that was believable.
So I just popped in and it came in as soon as I put the headphones on my head. The part that I was telling you about, he just said it. None of that. I don't know what made you guys decide to come up with that story. None of it was believable. Let's keep going.
You know, I was thinking earlier today or yesterday that somehow I feel that you were forced into this, and I don't know, and that's just my speculation, that you were compromised and you were forced to participate in this, and you know, as soon as you gotten away from the rest of them, you should have called me, and we should have and could have discussed this, and the outcome would have been a lot different than what it is right now. But
I don't want to get your hopes up, and as I said, don't get carried away with any conspiracy theories, but in a way I was compromised, and you know, when all that stuff was happening, I was not in my right mind anymore.
yeah.
When all that stuff was happening, I was not in my right mind. I don't want to get your hopes up about some conspiracy stuff. Let's go back one more second. Where are we at right now? We're at 113. Let's go back just a little bit. This is pivotal. Why I keep saying pivotal? What's wrong with me? Pivotal. What's wrong with me? This is pivotal, guys. This is so important here. So probative, guys. So probative. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to him. He's saying, don't get your hopes up on this conspiracy stuff. Why? Why is he telling his parents, don't get your hopes up? Let's go ahead. Let's listen.
You were forced into this, and I don't know, and that's just my speculation, that you were compromised and you were forced to participate in this, and you know, as soon as you gotten away from the rest of them, you should have called me, and we should have and could have discussed this, and the outcome would have been a lot different than what it is right now. But
I don't want to get your hopes up, and as I said, don't get carried away with any conspiracy theories, but in a way...
Don't get carried away with any conspiracy theories. In a way, I was compromised.
I was compromised, and, you know, when all that stuff was happening, I was...
And when all that stuff was happening, I was...
not in my right mind anymore.
Not in my right mind anymore.
yeah, well, I understand that, and that's when you probably should have...
He keeps going.
Called me and said, hey, I've got a bit of a situation here, and...
That would have been a rational thing to do, but at that point I was no longer capable of rational actions or thoughts.
Yep, I understand. Yep.
Now, he said rational actions or thoughts, but the subtitle said flies. That's not what he said. He said rational actions or thoughts. You can hear it very clearly. Let's keep going.
I'm capable of it. I had no control over my faculties anymore. It's like the motor was running, but there was a screaming chimpanzee behind the wheel.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yep, I understand. Yep.
I'm capable of it. I had no control over my faculties anymore. It's like the motor was running, but there was a screaming chimpanzee behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I understand that. I don't understand lack of emotion.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't like she was catatonic. She was talking in a normal voice. You know, the only thing that showed any emotion at all was jiggling her leg, but she did that anyway. So
yeah,
yeah, she was anxious because she was lying to her teeth.
Well,
that's okay.
Don't get your hopes up for any conspiracy theories or vast conspiracies. Just understand that anything I did was not done while being within my rational mind.
Don't get caught up in conspiracies. He said it to his mother. First he said it to his father. Don't get caught up in the conspiracies, Dad. It's like something else was controlling me. I was like, give this analogy of something else being behind the wheel. He had no control over himself. Then Mommy comes on, and Mommy once again tries to play the blame Jen Soto card. On this channel, we only blame Jen Soto for being a bad mom in our opinion. Stephen Stearns' parents want to, at least at this point, when this was recorded, was trying to blame Jen Soto for what actually happened to Maddie or having a part to play in what happened to Maddie. I don't think that. I just think she was a terrible mother. I don't think she did anything to her daughter at this point because there's no evidence of it. If evidence comes up, I will certainly change my mind. But he says, Mom, you don't need to get into any conspiracy theories either. And he said, I had snapped at that point. Let's go back. Let's listen to what he tells Mommy. I'm telling you guys, this phone confession is it. I see where we're at. We're at 59%. 41% thinks that the poem is more probative than these conversations. 59% thinks that these conversations are more probative than the poem. Listen, this is what we do here. We're having an adult conversation. I believe that many of you will change your mind once we're done with this. After we're done with this, I'm going to read the poem. I'm going to put the poem on the screen and I'm going to read the poem, and then you'll have the full picture to make a decision for yourself. Which one's more probative? Don't get me wrong. They're both important. We're not picking either or. We're just saying which one is more of a nail in the coffin on Stephen Stearns' case. So let's go back. Let's see what he says to Mommy. We know what he says to Dad. Let's see what he says to Mommy.
We could have talked our way through that and figured out a much better solution than whatever whatever you guys came up with, because none of that was believable. And I was thinking earlier today or yesterday that somehow I feel that you were forced into this, and I don't know, and that's just my speculation, that you were compromised and you were forced to participate in this, and as soon as you gotten away from the rest of them, you should have called me, and we should have and could have discussed this, and the outcome would have been a lot different than what it is right now. But
I don't want to get your hopes up, and as I said, don't get carried away with any conspiracy theories, but in a way I was compromised, and when all that stuff was happening, I was not in my right mind anymore.
Yeah, well, I understand that, and that's when you probably should have just called me and said, hey, I've got a bit of a situation here, and
that would have been a rational thing to do, but at that point I was no longer capable of rational actions or thoughts.
Yep, I understand. Yep.
I'm capable of it.
So he basically said that he was acting irrationally at that moment. He said that would have been the rational thing to do, but at that point, I was not capable of rational thought. Let's keep going.
I had no control over my faculties anymore. It's like the motor was running, but there was a screaming chimpanzee behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I understand that. I don't understand lack of emotion.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, It wasn't like she was catatonic. She was talking in a normal voice. You know, the only thing that showed any emotion at all was
Now, when she said lack of emotion, she wasn't talking about Stephen Stearns at that point. She was talking about Jen Soto. All this right now, she's talking about Jen Soto. Big shout out to Simply Nikki, 499 Super Chat says, strategic. This is the first time you've been on my feed in months. I'm subscribed. So glad I caught it live. Nikki, the reason why is when you watch the show, you have to make sure that you're engaging in the comment section like you just did. And you have to make sure you hit the thumbs up. That lets the algorithm know that you're enjoying True Crime with Strategic and you'd like for the algorithm to show you more of my shows. If you subscribe, you watch the show, but you don't engage with the show, they will not show it to you in your feed, okay? We got to defeat the hateration that YouTube is showing this channel by making it hard for them to marginalize our mission, which is to give a voice to the voiceless. Let's keep going.
her leg, but she did that anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah, she was anxious because she was lying to her teeth.
Well,
That's okay.
Don't get your hopes up for any conspiracy theories or vast conspiracies. Just understand that anything I did was not done while being within my rational mind. I had snapped at that point.
Okay.
And I wish I had done the correct thing to begin with. You know, I wish I had run downstairs and shaken her awake and called 911 and all that. And deserved
well, I wish you had too. I wish you had too. Maybe she could have been saved, but
she was beyond that.
You know, that poem does not put Stephen Stearns with Maddie the way that this confession does. I wish I would have did the right thing and ran downstairs and shaken her awake. He's not talking about shaking Maddie awake. He's talking about shaking Jen Soto awake and then call 911. That's what he said. I wish I would have did the right thing. So this is the layman's interpretation of what he said. I wish I would have ran downstairs, woke Jen Soto up, and called 911. That's basically what he just said. He didn't say shaking her awake as in Maddie. No, he said he meant to say shaking Jen Soto awake and call 911. And then the mother said, well, I wish you would have did it too because maybe she'd still be alive. Now he's going to describe why that wouldn't have mattered. Listen to this.
I wish you had too. Maybe she could have been saved, but
she was beyond that.
Okay.
You know, when someone's that ice cold and just gone.
She was in a different part of the house?
Yeah.
She wasn't with you?
Well, she had gone to be with me earlier in the night, but I left her alone for.
All right, so now he's going to separate himself from her because the father is leading him on. He's actually leading questions. And I don't know if his father's doing that on purpose or if he's just doing it. But when you just let Stephen Stearns speak, he incriminates himself. When you remind him that he's incriminating himself, then he will distance himself and he'll try and make corrections on the mistakes he made. So somebody in the comment section, Marco Benavides, made a good point. He says strategic, but then he also says that he left her alone and came back to find Maddie like that. That doesn't matter. Understand that the law understands, the criminal justice system understands that bad people like Stephen Stearns are going to lie. They can tell partial truths. It's up to a jury to determine what part of his statement they want to believe and what part of his statement they don't want to believe. They don't have to take the whole statement and judge it as a whole. They could take the whole statement and say, well, we believe the first 10 minutes of that statement. We don't believe the last 40 minutes of that statement. That's the job of a jury. What this statement irrefutably does is it puts Stephen Stearns as the last person to see Madeline Soto. And not only is he the last person to see her, he is the person who saw her unalived. Because he describes that it was too late, she was too far gone, she was ice cold to the touch. That's his words. There's nobody else that was interviewed who could say that they saw Maddie in that state besides the coroner and the people who found her in that field. Mind you, he did not describe her in that state in the field. He described her in that state in her bed, or the communal bed. Since this was like a spare room, anybody could sleep up there. The abuse bed. That's where he described her. Remember, Maddie was found in a field, miles away, dozens of miles away. He's describing her unalived in Jen Soto's house. He puts himself as the last person to see her alive when she goes to bed. He describes her as he describes himself as the first person to see her unalived. Last person alive, first person to see her unalived. Now, as a jury, you fill in the blanks when you know that you're listening to testimony from somebody who unalived another person as being accused of capital murder. This is a partial confession, and it's a great partial confession. You don't need him to say, I did it. He describes his mens rea. He was out of his mind. He was not rational. He could not think. He describes his state of mind. He described the state of mind of somebody who is homicidal. If you've ever heard the description of anybody describing themselves as homicidal, they describe themselves just the way Stephen Stearns just described himself. Irrational, not thinking, somebody else is driving a wheel, feeling detached, unreasonable. That's how he described himself. And then he described the victim. She was alive when she went in the bedroom. When I returned back to the room, cold to the touch. What more do you want? How much of a silver platter do you want? You don't want that confession served on silver anymore? Would you need some gold? Or are we going to enter you up to some platinum? What more do you want, ladies and gentlemen, from Stephen Stearns? This guilty man, this man who committed cardinal sins. He has just confessed to you his sins. What more do you want, ladies and gentlemen? But I know you want more. Let's keep going.
While I was sort of just walking around and, haunting around the house like I do. Sometimes I go out for walks at night, or I just sit on the couch and just fiddle around on my phone, or just, I don't sleep well at night, especially when I...
All right, so now let's go over, because we got to keep the show a little short, because I'm tired. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm trying to mask my fatigue with some Celsius energy drink, which is probably not a smart move, because it'll probably end up keeping me up late instead of putting me to bed early so I can get up to go to work in the morning. And then I also have to do that video I told you guys about. So we're going to keep it moving. I'm going to go ahead and bring in now the poem. And I'm going to let you guys make the decision for yourself, okay? You know what? I got my opinion, but your opinion matters just as much, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up. Perfect. Let's get this in here. And now let's read the poem. You guys can see that poem nice and clear too. That's good. All right. Always remind you, this poem was found inside of his cell, inside of a Bible or something to that effect. The paper that was written on was confirmed to have been legal paper that Stephen Stearns had received from one of his attorneys. So we know that Stephen Stearns is the one who wrote this poem. Prior to us getting the information from the FOIA request, the document dumps, that this was found inside Stephen Stearns' cell, where he has a disciplinary write-up and everything for having this piece of paper because it's considered contraband, all that good stuff. We did handwriting analysis on this show using my rudimentary experience with handwriting. Definitely not certified. It's not my forte. And we definitely saw similarities between Stephen Stearns' handwriting using the supporting depositions that he wrote during the time that Maddie was missing to this poem, and we believe that it was Stephen Stearns who wrote this poem. We now can confirm, based off of the information that was released, that Stephen Stearns wrote this, right? We believe that he wrote this, okay? So now let's read the poem, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started, big shout out to Aaron Murphy, Let me just scroll that up, who gave a 5 gift membership to 5 lucky people. So make sure that you thank Erin for her generosity. It's very kind of you, Erin. Thank you so much. I saw your email. I've just been really busy. I will definitely get to it and read it, and I'll get back to you, Erin. So thank you so much for supporting the channel and for believing in our mission to give a voice to the voiceless. Now back to the show. Erin is so kind. We do appreciate her. All right, hold on here. I think I got a message from Aki. All right. Aki told me about some inspirational merch. I don't even know about that. I think we're gonna have to hit that link and take a look at it at the end of the show, because Aki does some really awesome designs on in the merch store. She always updates it, and I don't always know about the updates, so we'll get to that at the end of the show. Definitely. All right, let's keep going. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, I just pulled it up in my peripheral. Some nice stuff. We'll get to that. All right, so now let's get to the poem. Always, your hair was like honey, with eyes stormy blue, gone far too soon. I will always miss you. Okay. Definitely inappropriate. We already did an analysis of this. I didn't like that first paragraph, but we're not just looking for the inappropriateness of the way that he wrote and spoke about Maddie. We want to see a confession in here, because you guys, how many of you guys think that let me take a look at the chat real quick, because 34% of you guys believe that this is more probative than that phone call. So let's keep going. Let's go to the second paragraph. Your smile was a treasure. Your laughter filled the room. This world is not the same. I will always miss you. Once again, inappropriate. This man is talking about this youngster like this. Unbelievable. Totally inappropriate. But let's keep going. We're looking for a confession. Let's keep going. I loved you so much. I would have died for you. With no end to my tears, I will always miss you. Do you see a confession there yet? As good as what we heard on the phone. Let's go to the last paragraph. That's all we got left, ladies and gentlemen. As I held you in my arms, this is good. My heart died with you. Rest in peace, sweetheart. I will always miss you. That last paragraph is the best thing this poem has to offer when it comes to a confession. And it's good, because in this poem, he's saying when he held her in his arms, his heart died with her. But I want you to also take something into consideration that maybe you have not taken into consideration. This is a poem. This is art. It's creativity. Alone, he could easily say that he was just trying to write something beautiful for this dearly departed person. But he's talking to his parents about what happened that night. He's having a conversation with adults, and he's telling his parents what happened that night on the phone. I think that that phone is irrefutable. I don't think that you could walk back those statements on the phone. You could say you was lying, but nobody's going to believe you. I think people are more willing to believe that maybe you embellished for something like a poem or a song than an actual conversation you're having with a loved one, where you're walking them through that night, you're walking them through your state of mind, you're walking them through what you saw, you're walking them through what you think you should have done. I should have went downstairs and woke Jen Soto up and called 911. And then mommy responds, well, yeah, maybe you should have done that, because maybe she would have still been alive. And then you kind of say, nah, ma, nah, there's nothing that could have saved her. She was already cold to the touch. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what more do you want from Stephen Stearns? What more of a confession do you want from Stephen Stearns? I think the poem is probative. I think it's important. I think it's a great piece of evidence, but I do not think that it is more probative than what we heard in those phone calls. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. True Crime Strategic. I apologize. My energy level isn't what it usually is, but it's been a real busy week. Now, before we get out of here, guys, I want to go ahead and definitely bring you guys over to our merch store. Somebody submitted, let me see what Aki told me, because I think it's really cool. Some inspirational art, which is awesome. This is the Inspiration Boost of Hope in Life tote. I love this tote. This is beautiful. It says, I am a survivor, progress, not perfection, the struggle of addiction. I love that. I love that. I love that. You know, I've had a lot of people, you know, this show, we mostly focus on survivors of ex abuse, etc. But I've had a lot of people hit me up who have been in contact with the criminal justice system and have changed their ways, and now they're responsible, law-abiding citizens. I've had a lot of people hit me up who've dealt with significant addiction issues in their lives. And I think it's beautiful because even though my expertise is investigating special victim type crimes, and I'm just speaking this way because I'm trying to respect YouTube's terms of service, I love the fact that this community is growing to encompass a lot of different people who have survived their own unique struggles, and they feel safe coming here and sharing this community with us. I love this tote because this tote truly is inspirational. So we got a lot of good things going on. Let's see, don't be a per diem mom. People asked for that because I had the don't be a per diem dad, and folks was like, you know what? Some moms act like they're per diem too. So we got the don't be a per diem mom, don't be a per diem dad. We got the tinfoil hat up there. Let's keep going. Does that make sense? We got some of Aki and other members' cats up there. True Crime cups. And the wonderful thing about this merch store is that everything that you see here, when you click it, you can actually customize it on everything else. So, for instance, here's the We On That As hat. I love that hat. We click it, and when we scroll down, we realize that we can actually put that on t-shirts. So whatever you see here in this merch store, this may be the showcase merchandise. But understand that if you like that design, but you don't necessarily want it on a hat, just click it. And you can literally put that same design on any other type of merch. Let's give another example here. You love this tinfoil hat shirt, no problem, click it. You get in there, you're like, wow, this is awesome. I want to definitely be rocking around with Strategic with a tinfoil hat and have everybody on the street ask me, who is that guy and what the H is wrong with him? Well, when you scroll down, you could get that on a t-shirt, and you could get it on a t-shirt, you could get it on a sticker, and you could get it on a mug. So guys, please support our merch shop. We definitely made the right decision from leaving Teespring and going over to T Republic and Dashery, two of our stores. All of those stores are available in our links. We appreciate the support. It's hard on these YouTube streets, especially when we get it demonetized as much as this show, because we talk about the things that YouTube doesn't necessarily want us to talk about. But through your support, we can definitely keep this show strong and continue our mission of giving a voice to the voiceless. Anyway, guys, big shout out to everybody who came through and showed some love. Let me make sure I shouted everybody out before I get out of here. Another big shout out to all my mods. We got Erica B in the building, A Obsidian is in the building, and David is in the building. Aki's in the building as well. We appreciate all of you guys. We'll go ahead and end that poll right now. So put your last few votes in. And you know what? Before we go, I want to do one more thing. I want to give 5 free gift memberships to the Patreon. Let me go ahead and set that up. You got to give me a second. I got to log into Patreon, set it up, and do that. But it's going to be worth it because I love you guys and I love your patience for the show, especially when I have to reschedule shows. So I feel like I need to show some love to you guys for your patience and for your love and for constantly standing by me on this show. Let me go ahead and show some love and go over here. Great. Add one. We're going to call this free giveaway Patience, because I love when you guys are patient with me and you show me some love. A 1-month free gift membership. We'll put that for 5 people. All right. All right. Perfect. Create the link. Awesome. I'm loving it. All right, guys. See, when the show is almost over, sometimes people run out the room, right? And people still running out. But for those of you who are patient, now you're going to have an opportunity to get 5 free gift memberships to our Patreon. So let me go ahead and set this up real quick. And we're going to do it in 5 seconds. Okay? Let's do it. Let's put that in there. All right. Hit that like button. First, let's get to 200 likes. We're at 197. Let's get to 200 likes, and then we're going to drop that 5 free gift memberships to the Patreon. And for those of you who don't know how it works, I'm going to drop the link inside of the chat. You have to click that link as fast as possible, and then you can sign up for the Patreon and claim your one of those 5 free gift memberships. So let's do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see what we got here. All right, 2 people so far. It's gone. Big shout out to Chris Sid, Sharon, Beth, Immensely Me, and Mama Shells. Congratulations on your 5 free gift memberships to the Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please make sure that you smash that like button. I'll see you guys on the next one. We're going to end that poll. The ending of the poll is 65% says the phone call is more probative. 34% says that the poem is more probative. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.